With me is actor and activist Mr. George Takei. Welcome to Roanoke.
Good to be here.
Mr. Takei, this evening you're going to be speaking at the Jefferson Center. Could you share, what is the message that you'll be sharing this evening?
Well, this country is a wonderful country, and certainly Roanoke exemplifies that. It's a nation that, or it's a city that welcomes the diversity of this world, the immigrants that come here. I understand there are 105 different nationalities in this city, and you have an organization called Local Colors that celebrates that diversity, just like Star Trek. We had as our motto on board the Starship Enterprise, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. And it's really wonderful to see that. But at times in the history of this country, we have faltered in gaining that strength that we get from our diversity. And I very personally experienced that dark chapter. It was after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. We Americans of Japanese ancestry, and I'm the grandson of immigrants from Japan that came here. My mother was born in Sacramento. My father was a San Franciscan. And yet, because of war hysteria and racial prejudice, we were looked at with suspicion. We're Americans, but we looked like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. We were looked at with fear because politicians were playing on the fear of people and with outright hatred based on that fear and suspicion. And that hysteria grew and grew until it hit the presidency of the United States. And President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a great man, was sucked into it. And he signed an executive order ordering all Japanese Americans on the West Coast to be rounded up and imprisoned in barbed wire prison camps simply because of our race, of our ancestry. And that led to a series of other cruelties on Japanese Americans while incarcerated. And so I've come here to share that still today little known chapter of American history, and that the message is we must not repeat that, because I hear the echoes of that same hysteria coming from a leading candidate for the presidency of the United States today.
And I can see why that message is very personal to you and why that message is very important. As an activist, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the fact that I'm getting the kind of reception I'm getting, that I'm not vilified as some activists have been. Yes, and I do get people that disagree with me, but it's a civil conversation that we have. But I think it's mostly based on a lack of knowledge about that chapter of American history. The mayor of Roanoke exhibited that when he commented on terrorists possibly coming into the city, and he used his misunderstanding of the incarceration of Japanese Americans as a rationale for refusing Muslims from coming into Roanoke. Muslims are woven into the fabric of the American community. There are people, dentists, people's dentists, school teachers might be Muslim. People who are truck drivers might be Muslim. Many years ago, I toured Arlington National Cemetery, where the heroes who fought and died for this country are buried. And the markers above the graves have the symbol of their faith on them. And a number of them have the Muslim symbol on them. Muslims have fought for this country and have died for this country, and people don't know that. People don't know that there are Americans who are contributing to American society and their communities who are of the Muslim faith. And for that kind of irresponsible statement, that sweeping statement to be made, endangers all of us.
One last question on a lighter note. As an actor, what are you most proud of?
I guess it's my most recent engagement. It's titled Allegiance. We played it on Broadway, and we told that very personal story of mine, the imprisonment of Japanese Americans. And we did it as a musical because resilience isn't just bullet-biting, teeth-gritting kind of strength. It's also the power to find beauty under harsh circumstances, and also to find love. And we told two love stories in Allegiance. One, a love story between a young man, Japanese American, incarcerated in camp, and the white nurse in the camp. Forbidden love, interracial love, in an internment camp, behind barbed wire fences. The other story is that of his older sister, who falls in love with a young man who's proud of his Americanism, but will not subject himself to that kind of outrage. And he resists not only the internment, but to be drafted out of this prison camp to serve in the military. He says, I will fight for my country, but I will fight if I can report to my hometown draft board with my family back home. But I will not go as an internee, leaving my family in imprisonment, which is a very strong, principled, very American stance. And so there are those two love stories, siblings, and we tell the beautiful but also heartbreaking love stories in music and with production numbers.
Well, what a wonderful vehicle to tell that story, and we are so honored to have you here in Roanoke. And we will be taping Mr. Takei's entire presentation, and it will be shown back on RVTV Channel 3, Cox Cable. Check our website for times and dates.